find you're dealing with a problem or two, just remember that God is working miracles. God is still working miracles. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, is the evidence of things not seen. And although my faith is being tried today, He reassures me that the Lord will make a way.
Sometimes it seems praying is in vain when life's problems seem to know me by my name. I call on Jesus. He hears my earnest plea. He will It is my happy privilege to turn the service over to our pastor, Sister Rose. Please welcome her as she comes.
Well, it's good to be here today. The Lord is so good. He's blessed us more than we ever deserved. You can never do enough to merit what he does for us. We're thankful for all of you that are here this morning. A special welcome to every visitor. We're glad that you came. This is a good day. Yes, a good week. Everything looks so good. And keep your mind on him, though. Yes, I am thankful for what he has done, what he continues to do. This is a great life.
That's right.
And it gets sweeter all the time. I'm so glad for all these people that got filled. I am so happy for you. Yes. Titi, is that your husband? Well, God bless you. Please let me shake your hand before you leave today. I'd like to get a chance to meet you. I'm usually back over here, so you get over here by this door and I'll come out, okay? God bless you. It's a blessing. Isn't it great? Yes. I mean, I'm so happy. I don't know what to do with myself. This is exciting. You see all these new people just bubbling over and full of fire. Boy, that's all right. That means we had church. Yes. It's great. We're so happy for all of you that are here today. If you're looking around saying, what's going on with these people? We're having church. Praising God for his blessings, for all that he has done for us. We are so privileged. Yes. If you have your Bibles, turn with me. You won't find this hard. Genesis, Exodus, the second book. Exodus. Let's see what chapter is. The third chapter. It says, now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire, and out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, while the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I. And he said, draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. I want to preach to you a little while this morning. You know, it is a known thing that man does not like to spend time alone. But some of the greatest blessings that you'll ever get from God will be the time that you took out and said, this is my prayer time, this is my time alone with God. People don't want to do that. From the beginning of time, God said, man, it's not good for him to be alone. He needs somebody. That's why y'all got us. You really couldn't do it without us? Because when God looked at you, he said, wait a minute, you know, man looks pretty good, but he needs some help. And because of that, God gave you beautiful women to help you out and fill your life. And they're to be strength to you in whatever way is possible. So really you need us. God borrowed one of your ribs and gave to us. Can you think you had all the ribs at first and you still wasn't complete? And God said, give me one of these ribs, and took it out and made me. It just took one rib to make me. You got, I don't know how many you got, but just one for us. I tell you, God is a wonder. But now here's Moses. Now, he's taking care of the flock on the backside of the desert. And he said, listen to this. All of a sudden, he saw something that wasn't familiar. You know, people are nosy, but not really nosy about the things of God. And he said, what is this? This is a bush that's burning over here, but it's not consumed. What is it? He became curious about it, and he said, I think I'll turn aside and see what this is. And the message came to me, we need to turn aside and see what's going on with God. We're so busy in our life with so many things, we need to turn aside and take a look. And when you turn aside, that's when you get God's attention. So he looked over there and he thought, why is this bush burning up? I mean, look at it. And he was curious about it. But the angel spoke to him out of the fire. I mean, this thing is getting more and more suspicious or magical in some way. And so he's looking at, now a voice is coming out of that fire. And he says, hey, look, you got to take your shoes off because this is holy ground. And I would say to every person this morning, if you really want a relationship with God, you're going to have to take off some things. You're going to have to leave some people. Some folks ain't going to stay with you if you love God. Your friends that you had forever, they don't want to be bothered with you. But you know what? When we turn aside, we start seeing things that we don't automatically see. So then when I looked at that, I thought, wow, he heard from God because he was curious about why this was happening. And God let a fire start burning on the bush, and as a result of that, now what is this? So God began to speak to him. I hear people tell me that, I've never heard God speak to me before. He speaks to people. But it depends on whether you turn aside to hear it. That means I may have to finish dinner if I got a family and then have some time with God. Turning aside means I got to step away from some things. I'm going to have to do some things I ain't done before. So understand, surely there is some requirements, but let me tell you what you get from God is well worth it. It's well worth it. So every time I look at this, I'm thinking, God, thank you for the day that I turned aside. That I got my mind off of roads and all these things that was going on with me. I turned aside that I could hear from God. You have to know who I was to understand what it meant for me to turn aside. That meant you can't curse no more and fight and beat up people. It means you got to be a nice, sweet girl. Those things seemed impossible to me. Till I turned aside and saw him. And then all these things that seemed to be complicated, they weren't complicated no more. The reason why things in our life is so, we got so many issues is because we never turn aside to talk to God. Turning aside is simply taking time to talk to him and let him talk to you. You'll never get to know God just with one person communicating. Both of you must communicate. And so here he was, and God is talking to him, and he was afraid because he never seen it like this before. What is this? But it didn't take him long to recognize that God was speaking to him. If you want to hear the voice of God, we need to shut out the noise. Shut out the noise. The world as a whole is a noisy place. And so if you're really going to get something from God, get quiet. Turn off the TV for a minute. Just get quiet. Have this quiet time. It makes all the difference in whether your relationship with God is developing and going where it needs to go. Think about it. We get so caught up. I was thinking the other day when I was coming up as a girl, on Sunday, they didn't even open grocery stores. On Sunday, you had to get your gas on Saturday because gas stations were closed. You said, my God, what year were you born? It was a little bit of ways. But all these things Paul said, no, it's a Sunday. You better do it Saturday night. That was because Sunday was the day that God said, I want man to cease from his work and I want him to give himself to me. That's what he wanted to do. And so back then, we practiced it. If you had a hem out of your skirt, you couldn't sew on Sunday. It was very, very much respected. This is God. These things we can't do. This is about God today. If every person in our society would say this is about God and I want more from him, your life would totally change completely. Because you got to go to God and say, here I am, God. I need you. I cannot make it by myself. It's too difficult. It's too dark. I need you. And let me tell you, if you reach out to him, he will reach back. Hello, Terrence. Finally came to church, huh? I want to see you before I leave this morning. I want y'all to meet at the door, too. Yeah. I got some news for you. He said, get it on, Sister Rose, get it on. Okay, listen to this. Now, throughout Scripture, you will find God wrought miracles not before there was some solitude or some solitary place that the person went to. Get quiet. The Lord brought to me a few weeks ago, I listen to the news quite frequently. I like to stay up on what's going on in the world. But the other few weeks ago, so I'd always turn the TV on to get the news in the morning prior to coming to church. The Lord said, turn that off. Don't hear none of that on Sunday. No news on Sunday. Just leave it off. Do you know immediately there was a change? You could feel it. You said, yeah, this is good. Everything that God ever did, he said, this is good. So when he tells you to do something, cut it off. Because I was going to see the news in the morning, news in the evening. I got to see it. I thought, and when I first went back home, I thought, wow. I didn't realize how bad I needed to see the news. And I was sitting in the bed thinking, wow. I felt so peculiar, but it was so good. It was worth it. Now, a few weeks later, it's not a big deal. Not at all. I'll figure out what they're doing because 9 times out of 10, the same thing going to be happening tomorrow. See? And if it wasn't, so be it. So listen. If we can get to that place of solitude, a lonely place, a moment. Give me a moment to have this with God. If every person in this building this morning, before you got here, you took time out to talk to God, your Sunday is going to be better. And I'm not talking about saying your prayers. I'm talking about really talking to God. And so, there's not a time that I come to church or every day that I haven't spent time with God before my day starts. That's why your days are not good. That's why you start off looking at what's going on today. In the game, if you will. Man, you know, it seems like it's going to be one of them bad days. Pray. Prayer makes the difference. If you pray, you'll be surprised at how you start your day off, and you'll feel good, and you'll be excited, and all these things. But if you don't start your day off with prayer, I mean, the least little thing can get to your nerves. Because the world is crowded and full of a bunch of noise and a lot of crazy stuff with people and all this stuff. You need some time to say, God, help me today. Just this moment. I had a preacher one time come here to preach. And he said, Sister Banks, I'm going upstairs and see if the Lord will give me a message. Well, he happened to be in my bedroom, he and his wife, so I had to get in to get something out of the room. And when I went up there, I was shocked. He had his Bible on his lap and the TV on. Did we get a message? No, we didn't. And I thought, how are you getting a message from God watching television? Turn it off. Let God speak to you what needs to be done. So, Moses would have never had the experience he had, heard the voice of God, wouldn't know what to do or where to go, and God was getting ready to send him to Egypt, but he'd have never got that if he hadn't turned aside. You got to turn aside and say, you know what? I need to keep my mind on God. This is what this is all about. You come to church, this is a time you push everything back. I'm in church to worship today. I'm in church to praise God. I came here. We're not just coming to a building to be coming. We're coming so we can worship the King of Kings. Yes. So Moses was in a lonely place because the desert is very lonely. Now, if you're there and nobody's talking to you, you get into a certain mindset. You know what you hear in the world a lot today is people saying, I just take time for meditation. This is heathen. This is people not even saved. And say, you need time for meditation. I thought, what are y'all meditating on? You ain't wrapped up with God, so what are you meditating about? When I say I'm going to meditate, I'm thinking about the goodness of God. How good he's been to me. How much you love me when I didn't have nobody to love me. Thank you for being my best friend. Thank you for health and thank you for strength. Thank you for the power to say no to sin and yes to God. Thank you for who you are and what you will always be. Thank you for making it possible for me not to die and go to a devil's hell. Thank you. That's meditation. I may not even be saying it out loud. It may be quietly done, but deep inside, I feel I need this time. I have prayer time every day at 1 o'clock. But I also have prayer time early morning, which could start at 2 o'clock. Sometimes 3. Sometimes a few hours that morning. And then get back in the bed and take a few more winks and get out and start my day. But things are different. I'm happy. I'm not moody. Well, there's nothing worse than moody people. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know if it's John, James, Luke. Who are you? Have some time, quiet time, alone with God. It will make the difference in how you deal with your problems and the issues in your life. You start wondering, looking at this thing, things are not so bad as you thought they were. Why? Because I prayed this morning. Yes. Listen, this means I'm going to have to be cut off from some things and get this quiet time. You, the people you usually associate with, I need some quiet time. You know, you're on your job, you're busy, but they give you breaks. And they give you lunch. And so, why not say, I'm going to take that time and talk to God? It makes a world of difference. And if you've never tried it, I'm telling you this morning, you should try it. It's what keeps us going every day. Not that we're free from all the things in this life and the trials and tribulations that come our way, but we're able to go through it and with flying colors because we prayed. We prayed. We sing a little song that says, did you stop to pray this morning? Did you stop just one moment to say, give me strength today that I might carry on? Did you stop one moment to pray? You may have missed that accident on the street had you prayed. I'm telling you, it makes a difference in how your life goes in the course of a day because God wants to talk to his people and he wants you to talk to him. Yes. He's made it possible. Solitude often brings us to a place of seclusion. So we're secluded, a shutting away or keeping apart from others, a deliberate withdrawal from the world. I deliberately come away. I don't want to hear all this stuff. The world's talking about a bunch of crazy stuff, and all this stuff gets in your mind, and that's what you think about all day. If you want good things to flow through your mind and good thoughts, let's start it off right with God. Then whatever comes ahead of us, we say, you know what? I seen the time that would have just made me lose everything. But you know what? It didn't even faze me. It was okay. I'm not going to worry about it. My husband used to look at me and say, Rose, you know you don't worry about nothing. I said, no, because worry is a waste of time. Because the only person that can help you and get you out of a situation is going to be God. There ain't nothing said you got to worry about it, except we ought to call a worry party and we all just worry to death. That's not where you're going to get the victory. That's not where you're going to get better. See? I don't want to worry. My husband was a worrier. And if there was nothing to worry about, he would think about it until he come up with one. Had to worry. And he said to me one day, he said, you know what, Rose? If I ever get saved, I want to be like you. He said, you seem to just be so free every day. I am. I'm having fun. I'm having a great life. I'm talking to people that are crazy and helping them to become sane. Well, no matter what happens. You know, you're going to deal as a pastor. You would not believe in a week's time what I deal with, not with my issues, with everybody else's issues. Because you know what, if I had issues, I couldn't help you. I got to move on. Hey, baby, what's going on? And well, Sister Rose, you know, look at things going bad for me and nothing going right. I said, have you prayed? Have you talked to God? Have you thought about giving him your life? No. I ain't thought about that. Why should I do that? It's going to make a difference in how you live every day. Listen to this. Jacob was on his way home. He had left for some years and on his way back. And he was scared of his brother because he took advantage of his brother. And so when he's approaching home, he said, God, I know you're going to be with me, but for some reason, I think I need to pray for some reason. So Jacob, at night, he got by himself. When everybody else was asleep, that's a good time to do it. And he started praying, talking to God. You will not read about another person in the Bible who had a prayer meeting all night long and saw angels ascending and descending on a ladder reaching from earth to heaven. People that don't pray don't see nothing. You can tell they haven't prayed. Look how they act. Look how they deal with situations. Look how different things they're going through, how it looks. They don't pray. And you're telling me you're spiritual. What? Well, you're a nervous breakdown waiting to happen. You're not praying. Prayer gives you ease. It helps you to relax. Helps you to take life easy. Don't get upset. Stay back. It's going to be all right. Because God said everything that's coming against you, I'm working it together for your good. And Jacob, having been alone with God, said, I've seen the face of God. That's what he thought. But the angel came to him and changed his name from Jacob to Israel. To Israel. And it meant I have favor with God. I got favor with God. My life has changed. I mean, it's good to have friends and all these people, but nobody's going to be as good to you as he is. I mean, you got to say, wait a minute. I need something better, something tangible, something steady, something that'll be here tomorrow and next week and next month. And another year from now, I need settled stability in my life. And when you get that, the storm can come. The winds will blow. But rest assured, way down inside, you're saying, boy, it's not really a storm. It don't even feel like that. I'm not troubled. I'm not afraid. I'm not running scared. I just feel at peace. Peace is something that all of us need. Peace of mind. I was thinking the other day as I listened to some of the things, and I don't even turn them on no more because I'm tired of it, but I listened to a little bit of somewhat. All these people that Trump is putting in his cabinet are another Trump. If you look at these people, everybody he's putting in place is racist. They don't like Muslims. All these things that this man, he's putting everybody in place. You know what? I knew that politicians lied. I never knew the level they lied to. Oh, this man comes out to have a meeting with Mitt Romney, and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? He says you're a crook, you're a liar, you're a con artist. You know what he said? He's a great man. I thought, boy, y'all are horrific liars. You ought to be given some kind of award for the best liars on the planet. You need to be able to say, I need to talk to somebody that's not talking a bunch of junk, but I need somebody I can talk with who's going to listen, who's going to help me. Not tell me one thing today and do another thing tomorrow. I don't need that. I need something better than that. All of us need it. There's not a person on the planet that don't need something more in our life to help us to cope with all the things that we're going through in our life. How do I get through these issues? How do I come out victorious? I don't want to come out looking like the devil beat me up so bad till I can't talk, I can't walk, I can't do anything. I want to come out with victory. And you can. You can. But there's not a person throughout the word that wasn't getting along. Even Jesus himself went to the wilderness and fasted 40 days and nights before his ministry completely took off. He got alone. And right after the time that he was alone, here comes the devil telling him, if you be the Son of God, if you do this and if you do that, all this stuff. And he says, Satan, get behind me. It's going to empower you. Now, all of us want to have power. I was listening to Edward this morning. He said, I got power. That boy said, I got power. It felt like all the devils, come on if you won't do it, I got power. That boy is excited. He waited a while before he got it. I'm glad he got it. But I mean, he's belling out like a cow. I mean, I got power. Whoa, look at this. I got power. I can do some things. When the devil walk up on me, I tell you, I know how to put him in his place. Yes. I'm an overcomer. I'm victorious. I can win now. I don't have to give in to nothing. I can win, and I'm going to win. Yes. Understand, when we step away from something, you always hear voices trying to bring you back. Tune them out. Tune them out. Every time have you ever said you was going to do a particular thing and started moving that direction? Somebody said, hey, John. Tune them out. Because every time you get ready to do it, you'll find somebody calling you another direction. I'm going over here. I'm stepping away from it. I'm not going to be involved with it. I'm going to be a different person. I'm going to be able to make a decision and say yes or no. And what I say, I mean it. I don't have to become a slave to sin. I don't have to be in a position where I can't help myself. I'm going to be free. Why? Because I got power. I got power now. I can make it. To be alone means separation from other people. But lonely is a suggestion for companionship. That's what lonely is. But alone is totally the opposite. That's voluntarily. I separate myself and get alone with God. I don't care what happened. The other day, me and the girls, all of us, we said, Lord, we just need to hear from you. We need a word from you. I was in prayer maybe an hour when the Lord spoke, and oh my God, he don't have to say a lot because he's so powerful. When he says something, it literally can shake your entire being. And I got on the phone, I called Juana, and I said, Juana, check this out. And I was crying. She started crying. I got Lisa on the phone. Lisa started crying. I got Mutt on the phone. He started crying. Everybody was crying. It wasn't a sad cry. It was a victorious cry. It was something that lifted us. It was the thing that we needed to hear. God, thank you for this. Oh, you didn't owe me this. Thank you. It made a difference in our day. And And Nisi said to me, Mama, I knew it was something. I kept thinking, what is it? I don't have the words to describe this. What is it? And she said, when you called me all of a sudden, I thought, that's it. We can't get it nowhere else. I'm getting it from God. I tell you, it makes all the difference in the world. No matter what, I got to pray. No matter how busy you are, take time to pray. You must do that. There's a time in this world when you're going through so much that you kind of long to find a place away from everything and everybody. Jeremiah says, oh, that my head were water, my eyes a fountain of tears. He said, I would weep day and night for the slaying of the daughters of my people. When I see what's happening to my people and see all the bad things, if my head were water, my eyes a fountain of tears, I would weep day and night because they're being slain by things that they shouldn't be torn apart by. He said, if I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them, for they be all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. They're so full of sin. If I had a place where I could lodge in the wilderness to get away from it, I would do it. I understand when he said, when you get saved, come out from among the world and be separate, saith the Lord. Don't touch that which is unclean. And then he said, I will receive you. He's not receiving you when you're unclean, because the blood of Jesus cleanses us from all sin, from all unrighteousness, from all the things that are dirty, and make us a new person. You need that. Before you make decisions in your life, some of them major, some of them minor, but before you make decisions, ask God. Have a moment of prayer. Lord, is this good for me right now? Is this something I should be doing? And I guarantee you, if you ask him and you wait a bit, he will tell you. Yes. Because he said, in all thy ways, in everything that you decide to do, acknowledge me. Ask me first, and then I'll direct your path. I'll tell you where you need to go. I'll tell you whether or not you need to be there or not. Ask me, because we only see so much. God sees everything. He knows what your life looked like 20 years from now, 30 years from now. He knows what your life is like. So why would we trust him? Since he knows my future, why don't I ask him? What is this? God, I ask you, should I do this? You've been dating your boyfriend. He looks like he's okay. But ask God, is this good for me? Ask him. This time you get married, you don't know some folks until you marry them anyway. When you have a date, everybody puts forth their best foot on a date. It's when you find out this joker's nasty, lazy, don't do nothing, don't work, don't hold down a job of no sorts. Ask God. He knows whether he's a bum or not. I said, Lord, I'm not looking for a bum. Is this man or this woman good for me? Ask him. Take the time and wait. Some people say, I asked God. He didn't say nothing, so I just went on and did it. No. No, if you wait long enough, he will tell you, because he said so. So I got to be careful, very careful, that what I'm doing, God has sanctioned me to do it. Otherwise, don't do it. A lady back home, very close friend of our family's for years, Herman, and can't think of his wife's name right now, but for years they were close to our family. And they wanted to go on a vacation. So they went to their priest. They were Catholics. They went to their priest and said, we were thinking about taking this vacation. What do you think? You think it's a good time, or we just kind of want some direction? And the priest said, yeah, I don't feel like there's no problem for you going taking a vacation. That's okay. They took it. They somehow, an 18-wheeler hit them literally, and the car went up under the 18-wheeler. Crushed them to death. You cannot get an answer from God, and that happened. He's going to tell you about the danger. He's going to tell you where it's at. He's going to tell you, change the time. You may think the time is right. It ain't always right. I thought it was okay for me to do this. You don't have to think about it when you can ask somebody and get complete counsel before I make this move. See, is this good or bad? You wrapped up in this girl. She may be wrapped up in you. She may not be. Find out from God, who is this? See, since God made all of us, he already knows how we are, what we like, what we don't like, what we're looking for. He knows already. So why not talk to the person who knows already before I make that walk down the aisle? Walking down that aisle is supposed to be a lifetime commitment. And some folks get divorced a few days later, few weeks. It's almost unheard of to hear people being married for years and years. People, I think no matter how much you love each other, if you don't put God at the center of it, you got a problem. Because we're humans. I don't care whether I married my husband. I stayed married 35 years. I don't care. The truth is, I wasn't going to be Charles, and Charles wasn't going to be me. I don't want to be him. And he sure don't want to be me, because he said, Rose, I am that I am. Here it is. So, I mean, I'm going to do what I want to do. So, you better learn some direction from God. Okay, how do I deal with this situation? Because when you marry and live in the same house together, so most of y'all live together before you get married, but I'm talking about the real ones that don't do that. Folks shack all the time. And what I think is bad about that, after they get through shacking, they get tired of each other, get fed up and think, I need to move on. Well, he done treated you started off treating you like a queen, and after that, he didn't care whether you existed or not. So much heartache, so much pain because of that. So if I ask God, if I take a moment to pray and ask the Lord to help me today, he will let you see. What you don't see now, he will let you see. I'm telling you, we need to see. We need to understand. Pray. God has walked us through every aspect of our situation that we're going through, step by step. If he hadn't, we wouldn't have made it. We would not have made it. But so step by step, I want the Lord to guide me and tell me what to do and how to do it. He'll help you. He don't want you to be by yourself. He don't want you to try it on your own, because I'm going to be there to help you and strengthen you. If it's good, I'll be on your side. God does not endorse wrong. He doesn't endorse wrong. So what am I going to do? I got to pull it in. David said, mine eye runneth down with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mine eye trickles down and ceaseth not without any intermission. Till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye afflicted mine heart because of all the daughters of my people. Till God looked down and helped me and came to my rescue. I cried continually. God has to come down to stop the tears. Because this life is full of sorrow, it's full of pain, it's full of agony. God's got to come down and comfort us and strengthen us and help us. We can get on the right road and follow him and do what he wants us to do. Say, God, I'm going to ask you every day. Somebody say, you ain't got to ask God everything. Well, no, you have to ask him, can you take a bath? If you stink, get in the tub. Of course not. You didn't brush your teeth this morning, you should have. You don't have to get okay from God. Get your toothbrush out, for God's sake. There's a pastor. I used to sit at the desk all the time over here, shaking people's hand when they go out. But the lines got so long, I sat there for so long, I quit doing it. Breaths. Sister Rose, how are you? Hey, I'm fine. And the only way that I'm not going to be stifled by that, I have to keep my mouth open, breathe through my mouth. Because if I do it through my nose, help me God. I was at the hospital one time years ago with one of our members. She was having a baby. And her breath, it's a very hard thing to tell somebody your breath stinks. Very hard, very difficult to do that. So I was standing by her bed, and it was so bad, I took a mint out. I said, you want a mint? She said, no. And I want to say, take it! Take it. For God's sake, take the mint. Whoa. I am very self-conscious of that. Because you're right here talking to people. Okay? Hey, come on. You got to, those are simple things we don't worry about. We was in a church in Oklahoma, and a woman said she only washed her hair when the Lord told her to. I thought, that ain't going to work. And white people are different from us. Our hair gets drier. We have to put oil in our hair. White people's hair, when it gets dirty, it gets oily. Bless her heart, her hair was so oily, it looked like somebody poured a bottle of oil in her head, and she's still waiting on the Lord. I thought, go wash your hair. Go wash your hair. We're not talking about these type of things. We're talking about decisions that we have to make in our life that can either make us or break us or put us on the wrong path. Let's ask God what we should do. Is this the path that I should take? Because if not, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. See? I think if we honestly say, I'm going to take some time, whether you be a Christian or not, start taking time to pray. I will guarantee you, over a period of time, you'll want to be a Christian. Because talking to God kind of brings us into a place that we're not used to being. But if you start that even as a sinner, as a person that don't know God, man, I'm going to pray this morning before I go, and make a conscious effort today to do the right thing. And then at some point you're going to say, God, I need you to come into my heart and save me and deliver me and give me a mind to want to be saved. See, we got people in here, they don't have a mind to be saved. They said it to us all the time when we were kids. Ask the Lord to give you a mind to be saved. I thought, I don't want to be saved. Ask the Lord for a mind. I don't want to be saved. Why? Because I want to get out there and party with the world, do what they was doing. My grandmother done raised me up in this strict home. You can't breathe hardly, and all they do is read the Bible and pray. I thought, honey, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting ready to find out what the world is all about. Ask the Lord to give you a mind. Don't want one. Don't want one. And said it to myself, I don't want to be saved. But let me tell you, it didn't take long in my life to reach the conclusion, I need to get saved. I didn't even know what the world was about because my grandmother kept us very sheltered. By the time I left home and went out there, I thought, what's going on? This is a world I don't know nothing about. And you know what? I had to change that subject. I don't want to be saved. Yes, I do. Life is too difficult. Very, very difficult. You know, when Hannah couldn't have a baby, she prayed. And at one point, Eli, the prophet in the temple, or the priest in the temple, said, have you been drinking? She said, I have not been drinking. Because when he looked at her, she was praying, but only her lips moved, no sound. That's secret prayer. And Eli said, have you been drinking? She said, no, my heart is sorrowful. Why? Because I want a baby. And I'm barren. I cannot have children. I want a baby. And when he looked at her, he said, God, may God grant you your request. Sometimes we don't have nothing because we never asked for it. You don't ask for strength, you don't get any. You don't ask to be an overcomer because you don't want to be. Well, pray and ask the Lord. Put people on the church and on a fast and say, oh, okay, I'm hungry. Well, go pray. I don't want to pray. I want you to tell me I can have that steak right now. Oh, first time we told Terrence them about fasting, they said on my balcony, and they out there eating ribs and and steak and all this stuff I'm doing. You say fast. He said, man, I couldn't fast. I got to get out there with them people and deal with people. I can't fast. He act like we had said a bad word. Are you kidding me? Fasting is essential to Christianity. It's why a lot of people are not better spiritually because they never fast. You got to fast. You got to say, I'm not eating today, tomorrow, the next day. If I make it through to 3, I'm doing 100 to 12, really. I've called people and told them in the church, put them on a fast. New people come to the church and say, honey, God will take you through it. He'll help you. Get a phone call. I said, if you run into a tough time, give me a call. You know, so they call Sister Rose, this so-and-so. I'm having a hard time with this fast. I said, honey, God will help you. She said, I already had some cornflakes. I said, well, what are you calling me for? I'm the one supposed to be encouraging you, telling you can make it. You going to call me and tell me you already had the cornflakes? You didn't need to call me. My husband, God love him, he never particularly cared for fasting, but he had to do it. And I had called the fast for the church. I think it was about 7 days. He said, y'all fasted 7 days, no food? Yeah. And say, my husband, he was having a real difficult time with the fast. Some fasts are difficult, some of them are not. So he didn't say nothing to me. He just went downstairs, fixed him a bowl of soup, and started eating. So my kids come upstairs and said, Mama, did you tell Daddy that he could come off the fast? I said, no. He said he's eating soup. So I got up and went downstairs. He was sitting at the table like this eating. So I walked on. I said, honey, what are you doing? He said, Rose, I don't want to talk about it. He said, I'm hungry and I'm going to eat. I said, I knew it was really bad when he did that because he would never do that. Never did that on all the fast. I didn't say a word. I thought, oh, he's having a bad time. He just looked like I'm not talking, trying to compromise, nothing. I'm eating this food. And I left him alone because I thought this is serious business. My husband never did that in all the years that we fast. He never cared for fasting, which most people don't. And but the bottom line, if you pray, the desire to eat, it'll lift from you. He said, I'm not asking you to take it away. I need a steak. Take it away. I'll feel better. I'm telling you, watch this. This has happened many times in this church with people, including myself some years back. You say, okay, I need to end this fast. Man, I'm so weak. I'm so tired. My stomach is killing me. I'm dizzy. All these things. And, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Somebody can say, you can eat now. And they just get so much strength. They get right on up, go on in the kitchen, fix the food and everything. See, you wasn't that weak. You wasn't that weak. Because you couldn't move like that just because I said, well, go ahead and eat. I mean, talking, laughing, yeah, wow, excited. Think about it. We don't get the victory over something because we don't want victory over them. We don't ask God to take it away. We don't ask him to fix it. There we are. Think about it. What is it that you're doing in your life this morning that you not one time ask God, not once, did you ask God to help me with this today? What have you done that you could have, no doubt, had the strength not to do that had you just asked for it? But this is what happens. Sometimes we get so far out in what we want to do, we don't ask God. Got to do this. Let me give you one good example. I'm getting ready to close. You're dating somebody, man, woman, whatever. And y'all really have said, we're just going to date. We're going to stay celibate. Most people don't know what that word means. Yeah, don't be celibate. And we're just going to wait until we get married. And one time you went too far. You can get too far in till you can't get out. So what you do, you ask God ahead of time. Lord, help us to stay true to what we said. Help us. And then he'll help you. But if you just choose where it is now, I can't tell you, I just can't hold back at this point. I know we made some promises to each other. I know that, but it's what come to the point I'm going to have to do something. You should have never went that far. You only go so far when you're dealing in relationships. Don't jump off the bridge, honey. If it looks like you're going to run and jump, fall on your knees. When Pharaoh's wife wanted Joseph, and she done everything she could to get this man. But he said, your husband has been loyal to me. He's been good to me. He's given me everything except the kingdom. He said, I cannot do it. She finally sets a day up and put all the servants out of the house, so it's just her. So when Joseph comes in to do what he's got to do, she gets him in the room and says, come lie with me. In the Bible, that means come have sex. Outside the Bible, that means come, let's have sex together. And he said no again. Well, she grabbed him by his coat. And he came out of the coat and let her keep the coat, and he left. I wonder, do we have any people today that will leave the coat? The man, when she took grab hold of my coat, what could I do? My coat was buttoned up, unbutton it. Unbutton it. Move back. No, I was in position. She had me going, man. My mind was gone. Well, you didn't have much mind beforehand. But I can say, no, he took off running. Man, I ain't getting ready to run. You don't run away from sex. Yeah. Might have kept you from getting AIDS. Had you ran, man, I ain't going to run now. I ain't going to look like no little punk here. Be one. And say, before I give up my soul, I'll run. My grandmother used to say, better to say, yon he go than here he lay. And that's so true. This morning, I want every person in this room to say, when I get ready to leave my house or do anything, I'm going to take a moment to pray. Just a moment. You would be shocked how your life would change. And say, God, I don't feel like I want to be saved right now, but I don't know if I even want to ask you to give me a mind right now. Be honest with God. But whatever I need that's good for me, would you fix me? Would you change this? Would you put me on the right track? The wrong track always brings a lot of problems. You don't want that. You don't want that. This morning, while you sit here listening, God knew you were going to be here. That's why he gave me this message last week. He knew every person that would be here to tell you, you need to pray. You need to talk to God. You need to set time aside for you and God. You work during the day. Have some time before you go to work. Have some time after you come home from work. You say, just going to pray. Men ought to always pray and not to faint. But God's not expecting you to be on your knees 24 hours a day, but you need some time to pray. I say, you know what? I'm going to try that. I guarantee you, even before you make a commitment to God, you will see things different and feel different because I took a moment to pray. Do that. This message says to you that God will be there. He will help you. He will strengthen you. Daniel prayed 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. And he became perfect before God through prayer. Even when they threatened to put him in the lion's den, if he did pray again, he still prayed. And what happened? When they threw him in the lion's den, God sent an angel to the lion's den and shut the mouth of the lions so they couldn't have dinner with Daniel. And the king was very upset because he didn't know they set the king up. And he was very upset. And the next morning he went to the cave where Daniel was put in. He said, Daniel, have the God you know, has he saved you? He said, fear not, O king. God sent an angel to lock the lion's jaws, and I'm safe. They brought him up out of that pit. And the king said, I want it to be known that everybody worshiped Daniel's God. And he took the men that put him in there. He took their family and everybody else and threw them down into the den of lions. And before they could ever hit the bottom, the lions literally ate them up. The God that saves and the God that's telling you, I can do it for you if you listen. Listen. This is a good life. You have protection when you go out of your home. You have protection. God takes care of you. He meets your needs. He knows you. Well, our musicians and singers, please come forward. If you're sitting this morning and say, Sister Rose, I really don't pray much about nothing. I don't pray at all. Change that. Start praying. When you know one thing, God will come in your room, and what will happen to you, you'll come out of your friends and say, man, what's wrong with you? You look like you high. I'm high, but not on that junk you talking about. See, he wants to change your life. He wants you to have a relationship with him. He wants you to be sure to ask his advice because he got your best interest at heart. Your best interest. God bless you. While our singers and musicians are coming forward and singing, would you please stand to your feet? If there's somebody here this morning that says, Sister Rose, I need prayer. I'm not there. I'm not there, but you can get there. He can change your life. Give you a mind to pray. Don't put it off. Say, I don't know if I could go in there and pray. Yeah, of course you can. Take a moment.